If you're watching this, chances are you felt the pain and the heartbreak that comes with loving someone who's struggling with addiction. And you know it's a journey filled with confusion, frustration, and a love that, well, it often feels completely powerless. Today, we're going to dive into the dynamics of this struggle. This isn't about a quick fix, but about giving you a guide to really understand what's happening so you can find a way forward. This quote, wow, it just cuts right to the absolute heart of it, doesn't it? It's about that profound feeling of helplessness so many of you know so well. It's that painful truth that love on its own sometimes isn't enough to beat this disease. And that's really our starting point today, moving beyond just love and hope and into the real power of understanding. The source material actually gives a name to this invisible force that seems to take over everything. It calls it the neural network effect. And you can see why. It's not just about one person's choices. It's this powerful web of behaviors, all rooted in the brain's wiring that doesn't just hijack the individual, it holds the entire family hostage. Okay, if you take away only one thing, let it be this. This is the most crucial shift in perspective you can make. What you're dealing with is not a lack of willpower. It's not a moral failing. We are looking at a chronic disease of the brain. And really getting that is the very first step toward having compassion, not just for your loved one, but for yourself too. So how in the world does this disease actually take hold? I mean, to really understand the behavior, we have to look under the hood at the brain chemistry. It all starts when the brain's natural reward system gets completely, and I mean completely, overwhelmed. Think about it like this. Our brains are wired to give us a little hit of a chemical called dopamine when we do something good for our survival, like eating a great meal. It's a nice, pleasant little reward. But addictive substances? They don't just give a little reward, they unleash an absolute flood of dopamine, way, way more intense than anything natural. And that creates this incredibly powerful and ultimately destructive link in the brain. And this process, it quickly turns into a really vicious cycle. First, you've got that intense pleasure from the substance. Then, the brain gets flooded with all that dopamine. But the brain is smart. It tries to adapt by becoming less sensitive. Well, that's tolerance, right? Now they need more and more to get that same feeling. And here's the kicker. As this cycle spins, the part of the brain that's in charge of impulse control gets weaker and weaker. So the result is that the prefrontal cortex, which is basically the CEO of the brain, the part that handles all the rational decisions, it gets taken offline. The source material uses this really powerful analogy. It's almost like the person is living with a head injury. They literally struggle to make good choices, even when they're staring the devastating consequences right in the face. And you know what happens inside one person's brain, it never just stays there. That neural network effect we talked about, it radiates outward. It puts the entire family system into a state of constant crisis. And it forces everyone to fall into these new, totally unintentional roles. So as we walk through these common roles, just ask yourself if any of them feel familiar. They're not things people choose. They develop as a way to just cope with the chaos of it all. See if you recognize any of these patterns in your own family. All right, so first, you often see the enabler. This is the person who tries to help by shielding their loved one from any consequences. Then there's the scapegoat, who kind of becomes the lightning rod for all the family's problems. You've got the hero, who tries to compensate for the chaos by being perfect. And then there's the lost child, who just tries to become invisible to escape it all. And listen, this is so important. If you see yourself or someone you love in one of these roles, this is not about blame. These are not character flaws. They are survival strategies. They are desperate, unconscious attempts to keep a family that's under siege from just completely falling apart. Understanding that is the key to changing the dynamic. Okay, so how do you actually break these patterns? The key really is to shift from just reacting to all the chaos to intentionally responding. So let's look at some real actionable steps you can take to reclaim your own well-being, and in doing so, change the entire family environment. The most powerful tool in your toolbox is the boundary. But we have to reframe what a boundary is. It's not a wall you build to punish or reject someone. It's a line you draw in the sand to protect your own sanity, your finances, your emotional health. It is a necessary, profound act of self-preservation. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, it means saying no when they ask for money. Again, it means you stop calling their boss for them with a fake excuse. It means stating, very clearly, you cannot use drugs or alcohol in my home. It's about protecting what is yours to protect. Now, how you communicate these boundaries is everything. A reactive, blaming statement like, "You're always so irresponsible," that's just going to start a fight.
But an assertive I statement, like, I feel hurt when you break your promises, that expresses your reality without attacking them. It totally changes the conversation from blame to impact.
Look, setting boundaries, learning a new way to communicate, it is hard work. And the best part is, you don't have to do it by yourself. The path to healing for the family is a journey, and it absolutely requires a strong support system. Building this team around you is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Support groups like Al-Anon or Nar-Anon are incredible because you're with people who just get it. Family therapy can give you a safe space to rebuild. There are even specific approaches like the CRAFT method designed to help families. And please, never, ever underestimate the power of just leaning on a trusted friend. We also need to get really clear on what acceptance means here. It does not mean you're okay with the addiction. It's not approving of the behavior. Acceptance is simply looking at the reality of the situation without denial so that you can start your own healing process, no matter what choices your loved one makes. I want you to remember this powerful message and know that it was written for you, the family member. Addiction tries to splash its guilt and shame and defeat on everyone it touches. But your story does not have to be defined by any of that. Your journey is toward your own victory. And so let's just end with this question. Healing isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a journey made up of a million tiny intentional steps. It's not about fixing everything all at once. It's just about asking, what is one small thing I can do right now, today, to take care of myself? Maybe it's making one phone call or just going for a walk or even just taking 5 deep breaths. That right there is where the journey begins.